I've got one of those tablet things. It seems to perform way better than the Surface Pro I tested a few months ago, and it's a lot cheaper at the moment. This is the HP 14-inch Zbook X2 G4, and it was provided to me for review by HP and B&H Photo. If you follow this channel for a while, you know that I'm a big fan of Macs. I've got my iMac back here on the road. I use my trusty 2014 MacBook Pro, but well, that laptop is starting to show its age. And when I look at current Apple models, in my opinion, they're missing a few key ports. So I've been looking around for some alternative options. A few months ago, I took the Surface Pro to Vietnam, and while I love how travel-friendly and lightweight it was, I found it to be buggy. And running Adobe Lightroom and Photoshop, it just started to crawl. And the price, that is not a cheap tablet computer experience. I mean, this is a $2,700 machine. $2,799. It doesn't come with the keyboard, that's another $160. It doesn't come with the pen, that's another $100. So for $3,000 roughly, I can't recommend this as a Lightroom editing machine. Now at launch, this Zbook was quite pricey, but B&H is running a serious special right now, which brings the price down. So it's a lot cheaper. But how does it perform? Well, let's take a look at the form of this first. I mean, similar to the Surface Book, we've got what is a tablet with a detachable keyboard, and I like that you can actually use the keyboard when it isn't physically connected. It stays connected via Bluetooth. That makes some Lightroom tasks quicker, as I can hit the shortcut keys off to the side while still maintaining a good working angle with the pen. But a downside to this kind of half tablet, half laptop mode is it feels more awkward on your lap and really needs a stable surface to set up best. The keyboard, though, has a great feel to it, and the trackpad is one of the best I've experienced on any Windows machine. It's smooth and responsive, and next to the keyboard, there's a little doohickey to hang onto the pen. That right there, in some people's opinion, might make it better than the Microsoft Surface. So this tablet mode has got a flip-out stand to hold it upright. It's got a full-size HDMI port, full-size USB port, and an SD card reader, and 2 Thunderbolt ports, and you've got a series of customizable buttons around the edge of what is a 14-inch screen. And you can assign different functions to those buttons depending on what program you're in. I set up a few modes for rating images in the library module, or when I'm editing, adjusting the brush size, and I really find that to be helpful and speed up my workflow. Now this 14-inch screen is an IPS panel with 4K. It's beautiful. It's capable of 10-bit colors with calibration right out of the box. It looks great to me. And it's got more of a matte finish, which helps to reduce the glare. The screen is touch sensitive, and the pen I mentioned is developed in conjunction with Wacom. It doesn't require any batteries or charging, and it supports up to 4,096 levels of pressure, tilt, and rotation. That's all good. However, it does only have one button, which some might find limiting in its use. And I found the erase function, where you just flip the pen over to the other side, to be buggy in Lightroom. It doesn't quite work with the brush tool, but it does seem to work great in Photoshop. Overall, a good solid experience with the pen, and similar to what you would get on a Wacom tablet. Now the machine I'm testing here is a 2.7 gigahertz dual-core processor. It's an i7, and it's got just 8 gigabytes of RAM with a fairly small 256 gigabyte SSD. Now that RAM is upgradable to 16 gigabytes, and I'd highly recommend you budget for that at some point in the future. I find the Adobe Creative Cloud software does best with at least 16 gigabytes of RAM, and you can update that SSD to 2 terabytes at some point in the future as well. There's room for those upgrades within this tablet device. Interestingly, even though it has less RAM than the Microsoft Surface I tested earlier this year, I found moving through photos, rating, that was all snappy. Editing, zooming to full screen, I mean, it was on par with similarly spec'd machines and better than the Surface Pro. And it even handles editing 4K video well enough that I can get by while I'm out on the road. So that's lots of good news, but there's a downside to this. It is heavy. This is not a lightweight machine. It weighs in at almost 5 pounds, and the power brick adds a bit more. And while I love these quick keys on the edge, I seem to bump them often enough, and That's a little bit annoying. And I feel like Windows still hasn't really figured out the whole tablet mode experience. Moving in and out of tablet mode at times is just a little slow and buggy as it tries to figure out what you want and to kind of catch up. I saw that often in the Surface Pro. I've seen it a little less often in this mode, but it still isn't perfect and not an experience like you might find on the Apple side of things. Then again, this is a more full-featured machine, so trade-offs. And well, I haven't mentioned battery life. Well, it's rated at 10 hours of battery life, but that's for general tasks. When you start working in Lightroom or Photoshop, or especially video editing, you're going to be able to watch that battery life drop drastically. And it does support fast charging, which helps with that, but it's not a machine that you're going to be out away from power for hours at a time doing heavy lifting tasks. Overall though, you've got a fantastic screen with a good pen tablet experience for someone that wants that Wacom tablet-like experience on the go. It's responsive enough with the Adobe products that I can recommend it, but as I mentioned, you should budget for a RAM upgrade in the future. If you plan to buy, the special price from B&H right now is excellent and makes this a strong value. Your use of those links to B&H right down below this video helps what we do here at Photorec.tv. And if you found this video useful, give it a quick thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for more gear reviews, tips, tricks, and travel videos. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.